The following program has been made possible by a grant from the Lawndale Cable Usage Corporation.
Hello fans, and welcome to the second round of the 1994 CIF Southern Section Playoffs. Of course, we're covering tonight our own Leuzinger Olympians as they take on the number 6 ranked team in the state, the Hart, Newhall Hart, I should say, Indians. Newhall Hart, of course, comes in with a record of 11-0 overall. And our Olympians, Dan, in spite of our prognostications, last week went up to Ridgecrest Burrows, a 3-hour drive in cold weather, and came away with a 21-8 victory. And here's the news bulletin. For the first time, they've got a home playoff game.
Well, I'll tell you, it really is something. It actually stands them in great stead that they're here at home. The crowd is behind them. Everybody's excited for this game. It's going to be a great one. Tonight's game with the Hart High School passing team and, of course, Leuzinger a ball control running team. It's going to be an interesting game for both teams tonight.
Leuzinger, of course, is led by their running game, as you mentioned, Dan. Aaron Williams at fullback, a consistent All-American with over 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns. Darrell Butler, over 1,400 yards and 11 touchdowns. Their objective, as you mentioned, of course, will be to control the ball through the rushing game, and the more they can keep it away from, which is a very impressive football team, as our fans are going to see tonight. And believe me, folks, I've seen these guys in years gone by, and they're every bit as good as their build.
They really are. And tonight, for Newhall Hart, Ted Iacenda, number 46, the running back, he is 1,200 yards, 35 touchdowns, 35 in 1 year. And that's incredible. And, of course, the quarterback, Steve McKeon, they're both juniors, so they're coming back next year, but they're both outstanding players.
And Steve McKeon, of course, has passed for almost 2,200 yards and 23 touchdowns. And as you and I have talked about this season, the passing game isn't something we see quite often.
No, the league doesn't really do it that often, and we've seen a lot of running. But again, that's Leuzinger's strength, so we're going to see it tonight.
Well, we'll have an opportunity to see Newhall Indians, the Hart Indians, I should say. They're from Newhall, California, which most of you know is right by Magic Mountain. They won the coin toss and they elected to receive. So here's the kickoff from the Olympians. It's bobbled momentarily. Seen right up the middle and finally brought down out at the 30-yard line. So that was J.B. Nelson on the return for Newhall. And they'll set up shop at their own 32-yard line. We're just getting underway, folks. This is the second round of the 19 Southern Section Playoffs. Tonight's winner has an opportunity to move on to the second. Probably face a very good Paramount team that Dan and I covered last week. So McKeon, their quarterback, and of course you'll hear us talk about him frequently on the play. And I suspect this flag will go against Newhall.
Looks like a false start on the right tackle. They bring it back 5 yards. They have two running backs. Tim Lawndale is also in there along with number 46, Ted Iacenda. He's the slot back for the Hart High School Indians.
As you were saying, Dan, and obviously, there are two backs in there, as you say, but Ted Iacenda clearly is the guy to focus on.
6'1", 215.
Operating out of the shotgun. Here's a pass down the middle. Receiver's open, he just missed him. That pass intended for Ted Iacenda. So we saw Ted Iacenda there. That's a new wrinkle to go out in the pass pattern.
Right out of the gates, they go right for the long one, and Iacenda, Jeffrey had him beat by a step. The pass was just overthrown. They're going to throw.
We're just getting underway if you've just joined us. Quarterback keeper, now he passes in the flat on a one-hop attempt once again to Asunda.
There's no question that Leuzinger is going to be keying on Asunda tonight. I think the thing is that given the fact that he's had such an incredible season, the guy to watch is Tim Waddell as well, because I was talking to the coaches before the game. He's had a great week of practice and is ready for the game, and he's a great receiver.
6'1", 215-pound junior running back. Here's the quarterback. They go to the air once again, and this will go all the way. Touchdown! Newhall Hart to Dom DeLeo. Touchdown pass. 62 yards. Leuzinger had defensed for 2 good plays there.
That was a fake punt. It was 4th down, and it looked like they were going to punt, and they went in for an incredible pass by McKeon.
And if you're the Olympians, this is exactly what you didn't want to happen, to have your opponent get out on top first.
Well, that happened to Hawthorne last week. We saw that, and you can't give it up that quickly this soon.
Here's the extra point attempt. It's up and good. So with 10:54 left in the first quarter, Newhall Hart jumps out to a 7-0 lead. That, of course, was Kevin McLaughlin with the extra point attempt.
Ooh. Good God, it's warmed up here already.
And it's evident that this is one of the first times in a long time that Leuzinger has hosted a playoff game. We see banners all around. Few extra fans in the crowd tonight to cheer the Olympian effort on. And by the same token, the folks from the Antelope Valley up by Magic Mountain brought down a pretty decent-sized crowd themselves.
Well, they sure did, and that long pass play by McKeon to Dom DeLeo really brought this crowd up on both sides. Surprise here on the Leuzinger side. Again, that's what Hart loves to do. They've been passing all season long, and they're going to, again, Leuzinger's going to have to watch for the long routes tonight.
And although, as we were talking about, Asunda, of course, is a feature running back and carries the bulk of the tack, it shouldn't go unnoticed, and I'm sure it didn't by Coach Fred Boehm and his staff, that the Newhall quarterback has passed for over 2,200, almost 2,200 yards, as we said, and 23 touchdowns. So they've got a dual attack that Leuzinger is going to have to be prepared for.
Leuzinger has a great offensive line led by Ego Usu and Ione Arenio. They're outstanding ball players. So we're going to watch them go to work now.
Here's a Newhall kickoff. Taken by Alex Tull, and he's brought down right at about his own 10-yard line. So the Hart special team rising to the occasion as well. But for the first time tonight, we get a chance to see the Olympians go on offense. Looking to recover from the early touchdown by Hart on a 62-yard fake punt, as Dan said, that went for a touchdown pass.
Well, again, they'll be keyed by their running backs, Aaron Williams and Derek Norris. An outstanding tandem in there, complemented by number 22, and that's Derek Smith. It's a full house backfield.
Of course, Aaron Williams is number 8, Derek Norris is number 6. They keep it on the ground, and good room opens over the left side of the line for number 6, looks like Derek Norris. Stop made by Jeremy Seipel. You'll see on the replay here, Derek Norris going around the left side, picking up good gains. And these two guys have picked up over 2,500 yards between them, Derek Norris and...
They've got the 2 tight ends set again with Sid Tuggerson and Terrell Brown in for the offense.
Once again, to keep it on the ground, and this time it's going to be stopped short of the first down. They'll bring up a third, and looks like to be about 3. That was Derek Smith with the carry for the Olympians. We've got 9:30 left in the first quarter. Hart leading by a score of 7-0 over the Leuzinger Olympians.
I'm sorry, I was in error. Terrell Brown is replacing Sid Tuggerson in the lineup. We still have the two tight end offense. With the ball control effort that Leuzinger gives every game, they usually run strong side right if they have the extra receiver in, but they've got the two tight ends, so anything can go.
Of course, Rob Fredrickson is at the quarterback for the Olympians. This time they line up in an I formation. They hand it off to the second back through, that's Derek Norris, and he's going to be stopped short of the first down, so the Olympians are going to have to punt in this situation. That was Mark Zimmerman on the stop for Hart.
Well, again, at the beginning of the game, you've seen so many of them. Both teams are filling each other out. From the standpoint of Leuzinger, trying the running game, let's see what happens. Go one play over left guard, two plays over the right tackle. We're going to see what happens here, and they're ready to punt. Fredrickson's going to punt.
High snap, but he brings it down. There's no rush on it, so it gives him a chance to get it away. Seipler is going to take an Olympian bounce. And that is great. It's down at the Olympian 33-yard line, at the 33-yard line of Hart.
That bounced another 18 yards for Leuzinger, and that's, again, good news for them.
Well, it looks like we may have an issue here where the official is saying that it touched. He's saying that it touched an Olympian when it hit the ground, and then Hart's going to pick up 18 yards on that exchange. So starting right from midfield, Hart leading by a score of 7-0 with 8 minutes left in the first quarter, goes on offense. And right now, Dan, and it's early, but the Leuzinger defense already is under the pressure.
Absolutely. They're going to have to stop here. 3 downs and a punt would be great.
Well, they hand it to the big running back, Ted Isenda, and Isenda picks up 6 yards on the carry. Derek Norris on the stop with a host of other Olympians.
That play went to the left side, over the left tackle. Left tackle blocked down, and Isenda picked up 8 yards on the play.
Richard!
Once again, their quarterback, Steve McKeon, fakes a pass, hits it out in the flat to Isenda. He's got some running room. There's a clip over there. Did they pick it up? No, they didn't. And Isenda's going to go for another touchdown. Well, it sure seemed like a clip over on the far side. I'm not sure if they called it. It looks like they may have, Dan.
I think they're going to bring this one back.
Excellent officiating. I saw it when the play developed. The official was there on the spot, and the Olympians catch a very, very big break here.
Absolutely, because that pass on the rollout by McKeon, he hit Isenda, we're going to see it here. Dumps it off to Isenda, actually behind the line of scrimmage. It runs wide right. There's a clip on number 28 and number 19, who was Robert Saldana for Leuzinger. And we'll bring it back. And like you say, that's actually breathes a sigh of relief for the Leuzinger Olympians.
A big break for the Olympians. Now we've got some question about where the ball is going to be spotted at. And I think that this is an incorrect spot, but
I agree with you. I think it should have been right from the original line of scrimmage.
Exactly.
After the penalty, 1st and 10, Hart.
So it's a 1st and 10 for Hart. They keep it on the ground. Isenda has it. He's brought down by Aaron Williams, amongst others, along with Kavadas Ingram.
Well, Williams met him head on, and it's the irresistible force, the immovable object. They're both big guys. Picked up maybe one on the play, and they need again to step it up.
It's a 2nd down and 7 for Hart now. Operating in Leuzinger territory at about the Leuzinger 33-yard line. Out of the shotgun. Here's a pass, and he overthrows his man, but there's another flag on the play. That was Terrell Gardner on the defense for the Olympians.
Maybe holding. Holding, it looked like the right guard may have held on the play. So I just saw the tail end of it. But I'm telling you, it looks like ISN has been on 9 of the 10 plays that they've run so far.
And of course, as we were saying a few minutes ago, Dan, I will admit to the fans that I still don't understand the positioning on the last penalty, because the line of scrimmage was at 44, and it should have gone back 15 yards from there. But nonetheless, it's a 2nd down and 17 for Hart now from the Leuzinger 44. Here's the inside pitch, ball comes loose. Looks like it's going to be recovered, however, by Newhall.
Richard Gomez in on that stop. He picks up Iacenda by the ankles and stops him for no gain. Great play by the defensive tackle.
So thus far, the Leuzinger defense has risen to the challenge here on this all-important second drive by Hart. Here you'll see on the replay, once again, McKeon inside pitch to Iacenda. However, Iacenda was brought down very quickly. Big 3rd down play for the Olympians now. It's 3rd and 20. Once again, they're operating out of the shotgun. The original pursuit overpasses them. It's incomplete. So the Leuzinger defense comes up with a huge stop here in the 1st quarter.
Very important that they do this, Rufus, because, again, the touchdown was called back, but it was so quick that that really would have been a tough blow for the Olympians, and this crowd would have taken them out of the game. They stopped them now, can get the ball back, and let's see if they can start moving.
Johnny Jeffrey, whom we saw a couple of weeks ago exhibit a tremendous amount of speed, is back to receive for the Olympians. Looks like he'll have a chance. No, it's going to bounce. Will it go into the end zone? It has to find the end zone, and it doesn't.
That's deep.
Now, the Olympians are going to be pinning fans down around their own 1-yard line. Bad decision on the part of Johnny Jeffrey. He thought he'd get the roll into the end zone. He didn't get it. So Leuzinger now has to start inside their 5-yard line, Dan.
Well, I tell you, the interesting thing about that is, and I guess in high school sports today, you cannot, if you're going to fair catch it, block anybody coming down the field. Whereas in the pros, you could actually do that. So, unfortunately, the ball didn't roll in. But again, they've got a great running game. Let's see what they can do out of their own end zone deep.
Well, they've got to do 2 things here. They've got to protect the ball for 1 and pick up a 1st down for 2. They keep it on the ground. That's Aaron Williams, the consensus All-American, and he picks up almost a 1st down on the play, picks up a good 8 yards.
Well, there was a double team, right guard and center on the defense, on the right defensive tackle. Allowed Williams to go through the hole. Here it is again, and he picks up a nice piece of yardage on that play. Like we said before, Leuzinger has a great offensive line.
They give him a 1st down on the play. And now we've got movement along the offensive line. Number 77, Iga Usu, appeared to be a little anxious on that play.
He was going to go down. He was going to be blocking down on the middle linebacker, who is Mark Zimmerman.
We've got 4:38 left in the 1st quarter. Hart, visiting here at Olympian Field in Lawndale, California, leads the Leuzinger Olympians by a score of 7-0. First and 15 now for the Olympians. Rob Fredrickson, of course, the quarterback. They keep it on the ground once again. Appears to be Aaron Williams with the carry. Williams looks like he picks up the 5 yards that they gave up on the penalty.
Straight ahead blocking as Aaron Williams went right between the left guard and left tackle. Will bring up a 2nd down and 12 yards to go.
Olympians once again needing to pick up a 1st down to give themselves some breathing room here late in the 1st quarter, I should say. Fredrickson under center. Once again, hands off to the 2nd man through. That's Derek Norris. He drags along a tackler for about 2 yards on the play. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 10 for the Olympians once again. That was Todd Renfro on the stop for Hart. course, this break in the action, fans, gives me an opportunity to tell you that this CIF second round playoff contest is brought to you under the auspices of the fine people at the Lawndale Cable Usage Corporation. Third down and 9 now for the Olympians. Once again, Frederickson drops back to pass, looking for number 86. There may be interference here. There should be, but no flag on the play.
Well, he was going for number 86. Well, big tight end. He had a step and he had the height advantage, but he pulled up just a bit, bumped into the defensive back, and unfortunately missed the pass. We'll bring up a fourth down. We'll see it here. Frederickson going back, throwing to Gardner, and he just, as he bumps into one of the Hart players on defense, we'll bring up a fourth down and Frederickson will punt.
And actually, Dan, on that play, he threw into double coverage, which was going to be tough enough as it was, and the ball was just a little bit underthrown for Terrell Gardner. Puts Leuzinger in a punting situation. Jeremy Seipel back to receive for Hart. And he's lined up at the Leuzinger 43-yard line to receive this punt. Oh, and they get off a bad punt. However, it stays in the field of play. And Leuzinger actually gets a little bit of luck out of this, as this is going to be blown dead at the 46-yard line.
That punt went straight up in the air as Frederickson got under it just a bit too much. Looked like it was only going to go for about 15 yards, but then as it was carrying, it took a great bounce and stayed in the field, as you mentioned. So,
but when you shorten the field to 45 yards for Hart, you're asking for trouble.
That's very true, especially with Ted Iacenda on the field. And he has been in on 95% of their plays.
Steve McKeon, number 4 at quarterback.
One of the things we see, Dan, that we see Hart doing is coming out in a no-huddle offense. Once again, here's a blitz, and they pay for it. It's going to be a touchdown pass, 45 yards to Jeremy Seipel from the Hart quarterback, of course, as we talked about coming into the game. Steve McKeon, it passed for 23, and now he's got 25.
That was an all-out blitz by the Leuzinger Olympians. They wanted to see if they could catch Hart unawares, but unfortunately, Larry Seipel, I wanted to mention Jeremy Seipel just slipped underneath the coverage, was wide open, and he hit him on the fly and took it in 20 yards for the touchdown.
Let's have the extra kick.
Extra point attempt coming up.
Point for Hart High School.
Kick is up, and it's good. So with 2:15 left in the first quarter, Hart leads by a score of 14-0 over the Leuzinger Olympians, playing at home in Lawndale tonight before a virtual capacity crowd. And although they're down by 14, Dan, it's just a matter, one, they've had poor field position to start the game with, and they've given up 2 big plays on defense.
Well, that's it, really. The Hart High School Indians haven't marched down the field by any stretch, but they've had a couple of big plays, and that's really what has done it. They've struck very fast. The Olympians are going to have to bear down a bit. Defensively, they're just going to have to certainly key on Iacenda. They're going to have to watch the passing game. And on offense, the offensive line needs to grab a hold of the line of scrimmage and start moving some guys out and get those runners some good holes and some good coverage.
Handling the kicking duties for Hart is Kevin McLaughlin.
Receive for the Olympians.
Looks like we've got Derek Smith back there and Johnny Jeffrey. No, sorry, that was Jamal Kilmer.
Here's the kickoff. Kendrick takes it, brings it out, gets out across the 10 near the 15 before he's brought down by a host of Indians.
First and 10, Leuzinger at about the 15-yard line.
So from their own 15-yard line, the Leuzinger Olympians will go on offense.
Let's see if the Indians start running a little bit wider with Derek Norris also along with Aaron Williams. See if they go with Ega Usu on the right side.
Williams now, of course, split out as a wide receiver, and this is somewhat interesting. Actually, he lines up the block for Derek Norris. Norris comes around the right side, picks up a couple of yards before he's driven out of bounds.
A little extracurricular there, but no flag. And I think White is going to do it because, again, Leuzinger has some great down blockers. And Ega Usu is just, he's an incredible match there, number 77. He can block down great along with Sid Tuckerson.
But again, one of the difficulties that we see, Dan, that again, when Bay League teams face teams that have a dual attack, they aren't quite sure what to defend, the pass or the run. Got a flag on the play, but just to complete the thought, the lack of a dual attack, that is passing and running by Bay League teams, makes them particularly vulnerable when you go into the playoff season and you're starting to play teams that, for instance, this Hart team ranked number 6 in the state. These guys are good, and you've got to bring a lot of weapons to the battle if you expect to win.
Well, it's true. We saw that last week with Hawthorne. Hawthorne, the pass really hurt them badly. Again, Bay League runs the ball, and they've got some great runners. And as you say, they're both facets, the run and the pass, has to be defensed. And tonight, the Indians will have to step it up.
And needless to say, the Indians have scored both of their touchdowns by way of the pass, and Iasenda, their leading rusher, is yet to get untracked. Nonetheless, it's a 1st and 11 the scoreboard shows for Leuzinger. Here's a pass, nearly intercepted as he missed his receiver, Terrell Brown. That was Ryan Risky, who was in on the coverage for the Indians.
I just want to make, the interesting thing here is that Leuzinger's tight ends average 6'3", and the defensive backs for Hart are 5'11". So that might be a matchup that could be taken advantage of tonight.
Once again, they split Aaron Williams off the line of scrimmage just a little bit. That would seem to suggest he's going to be blocking on this play. No, he goes out in the pattern, and the pass is incomplete. That pass intended for Terrell Gardner. So right now, Rob Fredrickson, Dan, is having a very difficult time getting his passing game untracked. And once again, unfortunately, Leuzinger, by way of the kicking game, is going to give Hart excellent field position.
Well, Rob Fredrickson all season long he's had that great running back, the running tandem behind him. Hasn't had to throw much, again, because of the way the Bay League plays. But he's got a number of receivers there, and it's still early.
Well, here's Fredrickson's kick, and it's a pretty good one. There's going to be a flag on the play, obvious. No, that's going to come back. It's going for a touchdown by the Leuzinger special teams, but it's all for nothing. That was Steve Gonzalez, who thinks he scored a touchdown, but the referee very early on said no way.
I think it's fair catch interference. Actually, I didn't see the hand go up, but I guess as long as the officials did, that's what counts. But in any event, Stiepel raised his hand. It was a fair catch. And he was hit before the ball hit him, and that's interference. That's too bad. That really brought the crowd back.
It did a little, but more unfortunately, it's going to give Hart excellent field position to start this drive. Not that it wasn't good already.
Hart doesn't like it, but
seemed to be a fairly good call, though. The ball spotted at the 47-yard line of Leuzinger. And actually, Hart did him a favor by not accepting it.
Number 4, Steve McKeon, quarterback.
McKeon, the quarterback. Iasenda is the lone back in the backfield. He drops back, fakes the handoff, and he was almost sacked. Now here's a chance for an interception. Instead, it falls incomplete.
well, number 6, Derek Norris, had his eyes set on that ball. Thought he was going to get it, actually. He jumped up for it, but he just missed it.
Well, more importantly, they should have had the sack back here, and they let McKeon get away from it. So Leuzinger had two bad things happen on that play.
Second and 10.
Double wide out left.
Now here's a strange formation. They have the two wideouts lined up behind one another. Ayasenda has the ball. He's broken loose. He's got the first down. The question is, can we stop him before he gets a touchdown? And they do finally, but not before he picks up a good 20, 25 yards. But there is a flag on the play right at the line of scrimmage, and it's going to go against Hart. And that's going to help Leuzinger. We've got 48 seconds left in the first quarter. Leuzinger trailing by a score of 14-0 to the number 6 ranked team in the state, the Hart Indians.
Well, Ayasenda went off of the left guard. Big hole there, right guard, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, there was a penalty on the play, actually, fortunately for Leuzinger, as Ayasenda picked up a big gain, knocks them back to
When play
about the
resumes,
40, 41,
the second and 25.
43.
The Hart 43-yard line.
Ball spotted at the Hart 43. It's a second down and 25. Another opportunity for Leuzinger's defense to hold here. Here's a short pass, screen play set up. They need to stop him. He picks up most of that 25 that they needed, but looks like he's going to be stopped about 4 yards short.
20 yards on that swing pass.
Dominic DeLilio, number 3, coming out of the backfield. Again, another blitz. There was two defensive backs in there, and they nailed McKeon, but the pass was already off. DeLilio picked up
When play
a good
resumes,
game.
third down and 4.
And with that play, that ends the first quarter, which finds the Leuzinger Olympians trailing the visiting Hart Indians by a score of 14-0. When we open play in the second half, it'll be 3rd and 4 for the Hart Indians. Dan, it hasn't been a good start for the Olympian effort tonight.
No, it really hasn't. Again, they were coming out with the full house backfield, which has been their bread and butter all season long. Looks like they were going to be able to run because although Hart has had an undefeated season, the running game has been something that they haven't stopped very well. And Leuzinger's been rolling up 300 yards a game. So that looked like it was going to be a great matchup. However, Hart can pass the ball. And as you said, with Bay League competition, the Olympians just haven't faced a passing attack, a significant one this season, and they're finding out that fact now with Hart.
Exactly, and of course, the defense, again, trying a lot of different things, but when you're blitzing, first of all, when you've got a team in a position where it's 2nd or 3rd and 20, you've got to be able to hold. And here twice, the Olympians have failed to hold when they had down and long yardage.
Now, blitzing is good, but you've got to be careful if you can't get in there fast enough, because with the passing attack that Hart brings to the table, they can gain fast.
So here's second quarter action getting started. McKeon keeps it himself. Looks like he may have picked up the first down on the play, as it was a 3rd and 1 officially.
He was following Paul Walters in the line, and it's going to be close. I think they're going to measure. Looks a bit short to me.
Come on, Troy! Let's go!
Great night for football. It's just outstanding. The flame is alive here at the Olympian Stadium.
Go, Big A!
Crowd
It's a lot warmer tonight.
It's true. It's very true.
Of course, this also gives us a chance to say to the fans, we hope you had a pleasant and enjoyable Thanksgiving Day yesterday. And of course, I'm sure the Olympians gave lots of thanks, for instance, just for having a home game tonight, again, in comparison to their travels last week. But this football team, to say the least, certainly had to feel good coming into tonight's contest after having had to go through the conditions that they did last week. 3-hour bus ride, 25-degree temperature, and to get out of there with a victory against a very good Ridgecrest Burroughs team.
It's very true. It really is. Again, the conditions up there were cold. We thought we were cold last week.
Right.
It was even colder up there.
So it's a 1st and 10 for Hart now. Ball spotted at the 40-yard line. Actually, it appears to be more like about the 42-yard line.
Quarterback. Ted
Iacenda, the lone back in the backfield. McKean hands it off to him. They hit him early at the line of scrimmage. He picks up maybe 2 on the play. That was Terrell Gardner in on the stop for the Olympians.
Come on, say defense, go, and we want you to come.
Also gives us a chance, Dan, to give a shout out to all our friends and supporters over at Hawthorne High that we covered last week. Of course, their season ended disappointingly at Paramount High School against a very good Paramount Panther football team that beat them by a score of 31-19.
They had a great season, and we salute them.
Come on, say.
2nd down and 5 now for Hart. This time McKeon keeps it himself. He picks up the 1st down as he goes around the left side, and a whole lot more as he's going to take it down inside the 20-yard line of the Olympians. So once again, the Indians are knocking on the door, Dan.
Well, that's another phase of the game that we don't see very often, but McKeon can run. He's a small guy, 5'8", 160 pounds. And he ran around the left end. Ernesto Garrigos was chasing him in earnest. And unfortunately, not before McKeon picked up some good yards.
We've got 10:50 left in the first half. Once again, Iacenda with the carry. He's going to be tripped up, but they'll give him a gain of 2 on the play. Hart leading by a score right now, 14-0 over the Olympians, and they're inside Olympian territory at the 14-yard line. Steve Gonzalez, along with other Olympians, in on the tackle. And now we're going to have a timeout on the field. Looks like it's going to be taken by the Olympians.
That play by Gonzalez actually saved the touchdown because Iacenda had a full head of steam going towards the right side as he was following the block of number 71. Paul Walters, again, the senior tackle. As we're looking at it right now, the Hart offensive line is getting off the ball quicker, and that it's got to change for Leuzinger because their offensive line, led by Agurusu, has been outstanding all year long. They're going to have to get off the line of scrimmage fast to start allowing those runners to break some good gains.
And of course, Hart has 3 guys on their offensive line, Dan, that come in at over 6'3", 280 pounds. One of which, of course, is Sansi Khan, who comes in at 6'6", 300 pounds. Mike Wambaut, 6'4", 250. Paul Walters, 6'5", 280. That's a lot of beef
Sure
to try
is.
to get past.
It's a lot of turkey that was eaten yesterday.
2nd down and 8.
2nd and 8 for Hart now. And here's a pass that's broken up. Good defensive coverage by the Olympians. That time the blitz does get there.
Sure does. Number 60, Troy McMillan. Kind of quiet so far. He had a great game against Inglewood. He came in right over the center and blasted McKeon for right after he released it. They need that kind of penetration.
They've got to stop him one more time, though, Dan. It's a 3rd down and 8. We've got 10:20 left in the first half. Leuzinger trailing by a score of 14-0.
They've got trips right. Watch it right.
Once again, they come with the blitz. Here's a pass, and it's incomplete. McKeon went to the end zone on that play. Pass intended for number 80 on offense, and of course, that's Chris McCabe. And they get away with the incompletion. Leuzinger does. Brings up a 4th and 8. And what would appear to be a field goal attempt coming up by Hart.
Well, they went to the opposite end, making a soothsayer out of me. They had trips right, but they went to McCabe on the left side, covered it. He was covered like a blanket, and the ball was overthrown.
There's a field goal attempt. It's up, and it's good.
He's got a heck of a foot.
2-yard field goal by number 82.
You're right about that. He could have made it from 42 yards.
Absolutely. Kevin McLaughlin, he's a senior, I believe, and he could have. That could have been another 10 yards.
So the Olympians now find themselves in a 17-point hole with 10:15 left in the first half. Still plenty of football time, but you've got to make something happen pretty soon.
Absolutely. This is an important drive. Even again, if they don't score, that's fine, but they need to be able to move the ball. They need that confidence on offense to say, look, we can move these guys. These guys, sure, they've come out and had some big plays. We can move them. We can play against them. Let's go get them, and they really need that. So a good drive here would build the confidence up. It's still early, and would be helpful for the Olympians at this point.
And let's face it, you know, and this is not to diminish the Hart production tonight, but when you're getting the kind of field position that these guys have gotten to start their 3 scoring drives, it's somewhat easy to put points on the board. Taken by Alex Tull. Tull cuts upfield. He's got a little running room before he's finally brought down out near the 25-yard line.
First and 10 Olympians on their own 23.
That was number 24 in on the tackle, and we're trying to find him. He's made 2 tackles tonight. Troy Meldrum. I knew I'd find him.
There you see Alex Tull, of course, a 6'1" senior, 180-pound defensive back. Obviously also works on the kickoff team. Believe it or not, at the 23-yard line, this is just about Leuzinger's best field position of the night. Their own 23, that is. Rob Fredrickson under the quarterback, sent a man in motion. Instead, they hand it off to Derek Norris, and he's met at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
They tried a trap play with the right guard pulling. Actually, he was met head on by the linebacker for no gain. We could hear that up here.
Sean Key is also in on
Makes
the
it a 2nd down and 10 now for the Olympians. Once again, needing to, you got to accomplish 2 things. First, you obviously want to score, but if you don't score, you certainly want to advance the ball so that Hart is not starting at midfield or in your territory. Fredrickson, under center, drops back to pass, throws it over the middle, hits his receiver, number 2, for a very short gain, however. That's Quavatis Ingram. And then we saw Johnny Jeffrey a couple of weeks ago exhibit a great deal of speed. I know the young man is not a wide receiver as such in the program, but you almost have got to give him some time at that position if you want to stretch this defense just a little bit to open up the running game.
That's a good point. Johnny Jeffrey, great speed, been on the kickoff team all season long, and he can run great pass patterns. They really should get him out, again, like you say, to open up the field for the offense.
Of course, this timeout gives us an opportunity to remind you that, of course, Channel 60 will be in playoff coverage at this point as long as the Olympians stay alive. So should they come out of tonight's game with a victory, and let's hope that they will, we'll be right there next week to bring you the semifinal contest. Wherever it is, against whomever it is. You can count on the folks at Channel 60, led, of course, by Mike Galarza, and a cast of 10 or 20 to be with him, bringing you the exciting action of South Bay CIF Southern Section football right here on Lawndale's Community Cable, Channel 60.
Well, Leuzinger spent their second of 3 timeouts this half. They've got 1 left with 9 minutes and 3 seconds left. They need to make something happen here. It's an important 3rd down and 7.
Operating from their own 26-yard line. You almost anticipate a pass on this, but let's see what they do. Fredrickson drops back the pass. He's got some time, and it's nearly intercepted. Pass intended once again for Quavatis Ingram. So Leuzinger finds himself having to punt. Back in coverage for Hart was Todd Renfro.
Going over the middle, I can understand, but again, the tight ends have a height advantage of almost 5 inches on the cornerbacks. They've got 3 great tight ends. That matchup needs to be taken advantage of at this point with the running game stalled.
Fredrickson, of course, doubles as the punter as well. And Hart puts absolutely no rush on the punt. And return for maybe 2 yards on it, but once again, Hart's going to get the ball at their own 49-yard line. That was Ernesto Garrigos on the stop for Leuzinger.
The defense for the Olympians will need to stand tall here as, again, the Indians of Hart have good field position. And they're going to come out again with no huddle.
And of course, that's a key part of their offensive strategy is the no huddle offense, a la the Buffalo Bills. This time they operate out of a shotgun. McKeon, they get a hand on him. Aaron Williams brings him down behind the line of scrimmage, drops him for a 3-yard loss.
Great play by Aaron Williams. He was not going to be denied this time. He came in on an inside route as McKeon started to roll to his left. Aaron Williams moved to his right and picked him up for about a 2-yard loss.
And we're going to see on the replay here what looks like we're back to live action with McKeon. Okay. No. Right. McKeon operating out of the shotgun. Once again, they send the man in motion. Here comes the rush, and it gets there. They got to stop McKeon, though. They get a hand on him, and they finally bring him down. It's going to be short of the first down. Nearly a face mask on the play. That was Kavadis Ingram who was in on the stop for the Olympians.
Turn on the drive, fire it up.
Iasenda, he's a big guy. You're going to tackle him low. He's a pretty wide player. But again, he's been involved in so many of their offensive plays. He's either going to take an energy pill, which he may have taken, or he's going to be one tired guy by halftime.
On the drive, fire it up.
And this time, Hart takes a timeout.
He actually may be limping. It looks like he is limping on his left ankle.
Another thing, Dan, I want to point out here, and I'm sure you've observed the same thing. If you're going to blitz the quarterback, which is a good strategy that they're doing, it's apparent now that he's tossing it out to Iasenda most often. And I would simply spot him with another guy, and they could pretty well defense that play.
Well, Aaron Williams is the guy that I thought would be shadowing Iasenda. But in any event, you're right. The key is that Iasenda is their main guy. He is the guy that runs. He's the guy that catches. They've got to watch him. But again, they've also got to be mindful. Here's the replay here. Aaron Williams, great play as he moves to his right. So he gets McKeon for a 2-yard loss. But again, just finishing your point, Iasenda is the main guy. We all know that. But they're going to have to be careful. The drop that they're taking on the shotgun is 8 yards, and that's as long as I've ever seen at the high school level.
Yeah. This time he's under center, 3rd down and 2. They've got a good chance to stop it here. Iasenda, however, picks up the first down. He's still running. He's finally brought down on a touchdown-saving tackle by Alex Tull. And right now, the Hart Indians are having their way with the Leuzinger defense.
One right over at number 78, the left tackle, as we see it here. Sant Seacon, 6'6", 300 pounds.
Timeout, defense.
And Leuzinger now uses yet another timeout at the 7-minute mark of the second quarter. They're trailing right now by a score of 17-0, and Hart is knocking on the door once again.
That matchup of Seacon at the left tackle, he is up against number 86, Terrell Gardner. Terrell is a big guy, 6'4", but he's outweighed probably by about 40, 50 pounds. And again, with Iasenda coming through the line, following the blocks of number 78, it's tough to stop.
Of course, two other South Bay teams, I should say, in action tonight. Peninsula, which of course was the #1 ranked team in the South Bay, is at Arcadia tonight. And Miracosta, which was the #2 ranked team in the South Bay, also on the road in Covina at South Hills.
Leuzinger is out of timeout.
So that timeout was Leuzinger's last of the first half. Ball is at their own 17-yard line. McKeon drops back the pass. He's hit. Here's a chance for a play, nearly intercepted. So near yet so far, Dan.
Aaron Williams, if he was just able to turn around, that ball came over his shoulder. He almost grabbed it and didn't know it. But that would have been a great break for the Olympians there. I'm getting impressed again with the defense. The defense is starting to pick up the pace. That's good. They need to.
Makes it a 2nd down and 10 now from the 17-yard line. Well, I like what they're accomplishing with the blitz. At least they're hurrying McKean into his throws. This time he lines up under center, which is almost a sign for a running play. And of course, it's our center that gets the ball, and he runs over the right side, picks up 8 on the carry, makes it a 3rd down and 2.
Ted Iacenda again, he is going to be one tired bro at the end of the half.
Now we've got an official stoppage of play. It's a 3rd down and 2 from the 8-yard line when we come back to action. Hart leading by a score of 17-0 at the 6:35 mark of the first half. Well, actually, they say it's close enough to measure.
Yeah, I think it was an official's timeout to measure. To see what. And the ball looking at.
And it's a 1st down. Excellent camera work by the crew here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60 under the fine tutelage of Mr. Mike Galarza. So it'll be a 1st and goal from for Hart from the 8-yard line. Leuzinger here certainly needing, if nothing less, to hold him to a field goal. They hand it off to Iacenda once again. That line pushes him forward for at least 2 yards.
And he's following right up the left tackle.
Gain of 4 yards.
If those guys just fall forward, Dan, that's a guaranteed 2 yards there.
Goal on the 4.
They're big enough.
They give him a gain of 4 on the play, makes it a 2nd down and 4. Leuzinger needing to making a substitution, no huddle offense, really puts the play in action real quick. Now we've got a lot of movement along the Hart line as they shift positions.
Iacenda to the right.
Iacenda to the right is going to be stopped short of the goal line. Kovatis Ingram, amongst others, in on the stop for the Olympians.
Kovatis Ingram has made probably 5 tackles so far, and 3 of them he's taken on Iacenda head on.
Here you're going to see on the, here we'll see the shift taking effect now as every player along the offensive line shifts.
The interesting shift on that is we'll run now.
And they drop him in the backfield, so it's going to bring up a 4th down. Excellent defensive coverage by the Olympians. The question is, will Hart try to put him away here by going for the touchdown, or will they kick the field goal?
Just getting back to that shift, it was interesting. The 2 tackles lined up side by side and the 2 guards lined up side by side with the center over on the left side. Interesting formation.
A bit of confusion on Hart's side of the ball, but it would appear that they're going to go for it here, Dan. They're going to try to put the Olympians' way right here, right now. McKean operating out of the shotgun. Here comes the blitz. They've got a chance. He threw, broken up. Excellent breakup by Robert Saldano. And the Olympians get the ball, and that gives the crowd something to cheer about.
Well, that was a great play. Robert Saldana jumps up, just touched it because his man had him. He was behind.
Oh, we're going to do a spirit cheer. We're going to
Great
say,
play.
what?
Brings the crowd back. Here we see it again as McKean looks back. He's going to his left. Saldana just picks it up, knocks the ball down. A big play for the Olympians. Gives them the ball deep in their own territory with 4 minutes and 38 seconds in the half.
So from their own 4-yard line, Leuzinger now goes on offense, 1st and 10. And the crowd really getting into it now, trying to get them spiked up a little bit.
Derek Norris, the ball carrier, number 6.
Derek Norris on the carry for the Olympians. And they say there was no gain on the play. Makes it a 2nd down and 10 for the Olympians now. 4:15 left in the first half. They dodge a big bullet on that drive. They still trail by 17 points, but anything here on this drive would certainly be beneficial to their cause tonight.
Watch for the pass to the left.
Number 12 at quarterback.
Once again, they keep it on the ground, and that's going nowhere. Play is blown dead, although the ball came loose. So the Leuzinger offense tonight, Dan, simply has been unable to move the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised. They had Quavatis Ingram lined up to the left, split. Thought they were past him. They've done that before, but they ran up the middle. And again, Hart waiting there and stopped it for no gain.
So once again, the offense find themselves in the untenable position of 3rd and 10, deep in their own territory with 3:45, 3:48, let's call it, left in the first half. And if they find themselves, Dan, having a putt from this position on the field, what's going to happen? You're going to give Hart the ball once again in excellent position.
Absolutely, and they've had it in excellent position all night long. An interesting play here could be either Sid Tuggerson or Terrell Brown, maybe going down about 8 yards, because the key here is that Hart doesn't want to give up the long pass, which they are lining up so that they won't. But getting that first 8 yards may be something, could be something to look for as we watch Leuzinger line up here with, again, their two tight end offense.
Aaron Williams isn't in the backfield this time. It's Quavatis Ingram and Derek Norris in the backfield with Fredrickson. He hands it off to Derek Norris, and he's going to be stopped for a little or no gain on the play. It's going to bring up a 4th down, and Leuzinger once again will have to punt with their back to the goal.
Interesting call. Running right up the middle, which is really where Hart's beef is, as they try on 3rd down and long to go up the middle, hoping to catch them off guard. Derek Norris has made that work, but Hart now has size that Leuzinger hasn't seen for a couple of weeks.
And Leuzinger, of course, here needs a good kick once again. Kick sails out of bounds. Looks like it's going to be spotted at about the 40-yard line.
Well, again, the play, that 3rd down play has been indicative of what's been happening with Leuzinger all night. They just haven't been able to make any kind of play offensively. Defensively, they're starting to pick up the pace, but offensively, they just haven't been able to move. The Hart crowd is in it now, sensing that their team could come back and maybe finish off here in the first half, a real good first half, by going up 24 points.
They spotted officially at the 35-yard line, so with 3:05 left in the first half, Hart goes on offense. Once again, there's Ayasunda with the ball. And how you don't key on that guy, I do not know. Absolutely, Dan, and I hate to say this, but I do not understand how you can come into a ball game knowing that this guy is your key offensive threat, and you simply do not key on him exclusively.
Well, I think, again, the thing is that Hart has a number of weapons passing-wise. The pass has been what they've been known for, but Ayasunda is a great runner. He can run the ball, and when he gets it full steam ahead, he's tough to bring down.
Well, once again, it's a 1st and goal situation for Hart now. Just like that, from the 7-yard line. Leuzinger's defense once again being called on to rise to the occasion. Ayasunda has the ball, and that's 7 points, folks. So, with 2:33 left in the first half, Hart now extends their lead to 23-0 with an extra point attempt coming up.
Well, here we see it again. Ayasunda running right. As we see Seipel in motion, he runs inside, actually cuts outside, and then comes back in. And before number 6, Derek Norris, could get him, he scores. And that puts Hart up 23-0, and then, of course, the extra point here would make it 24-0.
Number 82, Kevin McLaughlin, attempting the extra point for Hart.
Here's a pitch inside, they fake it, and the play is going to be stopped.
Can't do it.
By the officials.
Can't do that.
No, I think he's saying the ball touched the ground and you can't pick it up and then shovel it. So, Leuzinger picks up a break there. Okay, that makes a score with the failed 2-point attempt. Score remains 23-0 in favor of the Hart Indians. 2:31 left in the first half. Leuzinger once again will have an opportunity to put points on the board.
Well, I'm looking down at the bench here, at the Leuzinger bench. Some of the heads are hanging, and that's not good. Again, it certainly is a big hill to climb, being down 23 points. The game is young, and they are going to have to try and make a statement here in the last 2 minutes to indicate to Hart that, hey, we can move the ball here. We can start moving and start getting some thrust forward, and they need to do that.
That's a very good point, Dan. Right now, the Hart defense has no respect for the Leuzinger offense. And my point about keying on Ayasenda is that we don't know what these other guys can do. Maybe they can't play, and it's the old strategy, hey, I'll let somebody else beat me, but the heck if I'm going to let their star beat me. Here's a Leuzinger return. They hand it off, try a little fancy Dan place. However, it doesn't work, and they will start on offense from deep in their own territory at about their own 11-yard line.
That was a good idea to try the handoff. Unfortunately, as they were going towards the middle of the field, there were 7 Hart players converging on them. It just wasn't going to open up, and unfortunately, they couldn't get outside fast enough and was tackled.
Well, Leuzinger right now, Dan, amongst other things, and obviously they want to score. Every team wants to do that, but considering their position, they need to run out this 2 minutes and 15 seconds that's left in the first half and control the damage at 23-0. If that's all that can be achieved here.
A couple of first downs would be very helpful.
They give it to Aaron Williams, and he's going to be stopped after a very short gain on the play.
I think they're going to have to open up, or if I
speed, and you've got to do something to throw this Hart defense off balance. I mean, they've got the timing down on Leuzinger's running game right now to perfection. Once again, there's a fumble on the play. Looks like it's going to be picked up by Hart, and it is touchdown. So this one, fans, has really gotten out of hand here in the first half already. Hart leads by a score of 29-0 on a fumble recovery. We're going to see here on the replay in just a moment.
Number 37,
Todd Renfro, number 37, with the recovery for Hart. And now the Leuzinger team is totally disconsolate. Here we see the replay with Fredrickson. Mishandled handoff, obviously, you're right. We couldn't even see it. They were unable to recover it. Renfro there with the fumble recovery for the touchdown for Hart.
Well, this certainly has not been a good half at all for the Olympians.
Here's a kick, it's up, and it's good. So with 1:04 left in the first half, Leuzinger faithful, heads hung, disconsolate, as they trail the number 6 ranked team in the state by a score of 31-0. And the question is, can they outscore them by 31 points in the next 25 minutes and 4 seconds?
Well, of course, anything can happen. You've seen enough of these games, but one thing that's definitely going to have to happen, they're going to have to change their offensive strategy because the running game, fortunately, the inside running game just isn't happening, and they need to be able to do something to gain some confidence. Their offensive line just doesn't really, at this point, really have a clue because they just haven't been able to gain the yardage.
Hart once again preparing the kickoff. Kevin McLaughlin handling the kicking duties. Kick comes up short. There's still a problem handling it. It's finally brought down by Jalal Kendrick, and he brings it out across the 20-yard line.
That may be their best field position.
So with 57 seconds left in the first half, Leuzinger once again has the ball. They're trailing by a score of 31-0 to the Hart Indians visiting from Newhall, California.
Well, again, with regard to the score, I remember I was in a high school game one time. We were down 33-7. We came back and won it 38-35, so anything can happen. It's
First
two
and
teams are
10
great.
for the Olympians from their own 27-yard line.
I remember.
Once again, to keep the ball on the ground. Flag comes in on the play late.
May have been a personal foul.
I remember 239. 2457. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Penalty, face mask, defense.
Yes. Looks like the penalty was against Hart, Dan, so Leuzinger is going to pick up 15 yards on the penalty.
Face mask in there. Couldn't see who it was, but in any event, we'll give the Olympians the ball, I think, with focus they haven't been tonight.
First and 10 on the
It looks like we've got a quarterback change, Dan. Johnny Jeffrey is in at quarterback. Rob Fredrickson having a bad night. Fred Bohm decides he wants to take a look at Johnny Jeffrey here in the first half. Jeffrey trying to turn the corner, and he does. He's got some running room, and he comes up the left side. Looks like he picks up enough for the first down, as we've got 4 seconds left in the first half.
Johnny Jeffrey, he just a burst of speed as he was coming around the left side. We'll see it here. Watch him. Looks like he's going to be stuffed, but he just turns it upfield and runs for a great gain.
gain of 15 yards. First and 10.
And for the first time tonight, the Olympians break the midfield stripe and get into Hart territory.
That is their first down of this game.
And the half expires before they're able to get a play underway. But at least they saw one little positive there in Johnny Jeffrey coming in and perhaps being able to do some things that Rob Fredrickson was unable to do in the first half, as this team trails by a score of 31-0. Scoreboard shows 30, but actually it's 31. So with that, fans, we'll let you enjoy the halftime festivities, and we'll be back at the start of the second half on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60 with Hart leading the Leuzinger Olympians by a score of 30-0. Welcome back to the second half, fans, of tonight's second round contest between the Hart Indians and the Leuzinger Olympians. The Olympians right now trailing by a score of 30-0, looking to get the second half underway. Here's Jalal Kendrick trying to turn the corner. Unable to, but he does get fairly decent position out near the 20-yard line on the return. They're going to spot it officially at the 17, Dan, and right now the Olympians have a tall mountain to climb.
Absolutely. Well, right now what they have to do is they got to chip at it one bit at a time. It's a big hill, but one step will do it. This drive will be is a big one for them to be able to make some yardage, get the confidence back after halftime.
And right now, Johnny Jeffrey coming off seemingly a little upset. I think he probably thought he was going to start the second half at quarterback, but instead they go back to Rob Fredrickson. Derek Norris gets the handoff, keeps it on the ground. It's going to be stopped after a very short gain.
Well, the first play, they're running a little wide anyway as they're going over the right tackle. Egausu picked up 4 yards on the play. Derek Norris, kind of quiet so far, just hasn't had the room to run.
They give him a gain of 3 on the play, makes it a 2nd down and 3 now as we open third quarter action with Leuzinger trailing by a score of 30-0 to the Hart Indians, number 6 ranked team in the state. Leuzinger full house backfield. They keep it on the ground once again. It's going to be stacked up for a loss on the play actually. So thus far, Dan, to open the second half, Leuzinger offense still struggling to get on track.
Well, they tried to pull the right guard and right tackle to go for a sweep, and unfortunately it was snuffed out very quickly as Derek Smith was tackled behind the line of scrimmage and brings up again 3rd and long.
Olympians need to pick up 10 for the first down here. The ball is spotted at their 17-yard line, it would appear. Fredrickson hands off to Aaron Williams. Aaron Williams picks up maybe a yard on the carry before he's brought down. So Leuzinger, once again, will have to punt.
I'm kind of surprised that that Johnny Jeffrey didn't start that first series at quarterback. Again, they need to be able to move quickly.
I think Johnny Jeffrey was surprised he didn't start that series. But they didn't get to this point with Fred Bone being a dumb coach, that's for sure. And Coach Bone certainly has a strategy in mind. Once again, this kick is going to bounce out of bounds at the 41-yard line. They're going to call it. And as I was saying in the first half, Dan, with a team this good, you can't shorten the field to 40 yards. That's asking for trouble.
Well, when the ball is on your side of the 50, it's downhill for the offensive team and it's uphill for the defensive team. Hart again has great field position. They're on the Leuzinger side of the 50. So again, their offense will set up with great field position here as we start the second half.
McKeon, of course, number 4 is the quarterback. I send it number 46, the running back, operating out of the shotgun once again. This time the Leuzinger defense rises to the occasion and stops him, led by Aaron Williams.
Aaron Williams came in. He was virtually untouched as he went in from his left. You see it here in the replay. And he led a host of Leuzinger Olympians along with Corvatus Ingram.
Loss of 5 on the play makes it a 2nd down and 15 for Hart now. Ball spotted at the 47-yard line of the Olympians. This is Hart's opening drive of the second half. Once again, they pressure him, and this time he throws the ball short. And what the blitz is doing, that was Gonzalez along with Corvatus Ingram, who got in to apply the pressure to McKeon, who ended up throwing the ball short.
Watch it here on the replay. Right here, bang. Gonzalez got him even as his arm was up. They're getting off the ball quicker, at least on these first 2 plays here in the second half. That's good for the defense.
And of course, what we've seen happen for them in their favor was that on the blitz, they were getting to him in order to disrupt the play, as opposed to the first half. Once again, McKeon drops back the pass. Here's a blitz. He sneaks out of it, but they bring him down before he gets back to the line of scrimmage, and it's going to bring up a 4th down. On the stop was Troy McMillan.
Great play. The defense has picked it up big time here as they're off the ball much faster than Hart is here in the start the second half.
And of course, we see McKeon limping off. Leuzinger defense may have gotten to him and put a little hurt on him.
Well,
we've got 8:20 left in the 3rd quarter. Leuzinger trailing by a score of 30-0, but the momentum has picked up considerably. They nearly get the kick blocked. Johnny Jeffrey makes a wise decision and moves away from it, so it's going to be downed. That was... Wait.
Well, Steve Gonzalez was in there, and he almost blocked that kick. So again, Leuzinger was at least on defense. They've been off the ball much faster than the Indians on that series. Let's see if the offense can do the same. Here as they line up.
Once again, Rob Fredrickson is under center. He's got Derek Norris in the backfield. He fakes the handoff to him, drops back the pass, hits his man over the middle, and they pick up good 1st down yardage. That was Terrell Gardner with the reception.
Terrell Gardner, he was covered by number 47. That's Ryan Horrigan. And he had the height advantage. We'll see it right here. Watch him. He's on the right of your screen as he comes out. And Fredrickson hits him. He's wide open. You can see he's taller than the defensive players that are covering him. That could be a great matchup.
So 1st and 10 from their own 44-yard line now. The Olympians looking to get in the end zone on this drive. Their second of the half. Derek Norris has some running room. Derek Norris picks up a first down. Derek Norris is finally brought down at the 40-yard line of Hart.
Derek Norris, if we see this on the replay, we'll see that he was going to go right to the right side of tackle. Here we see it, as he's and then he cuts outside right there. A great down block by Ega Usu allows him to spring outside and pick up great yardage, and a first down for the Olympians.
Leuzinger's best offensive momentum of the night. Looking here to chip away. They've got a lot of chipping to do. They've got 30 points to chip away at. But you got to start somewhere, and you may as well start now. Once again, they keep it on the ground. This time it's Aaron Williams with the carry, I believe. And he picks up maybe 3 yards on the play. On the stop for Hart, amongst others, was Sean Keys.
Derek Smith, the ball carrier, gain of 2 yards, 2nd down and 8.
And Dan, apparently there's some folks out there watching us on Channel 60. We had a request as I was coming back from the girls' JV basketball coach. They want us to do their games.
We'll be happy to do it.
2nd down and 8 now for the Olympians. In Hart territory, Fredrickson drops back the pass, needs to let it go. Finally does, doesn't have a receiver in the area, but he had one close enough that he doesn't get the intentional grounding.
Well, that was a good play by Fredrickson. He didn't have anybody open. He was under pressure and threw the ball away, which was a smart move. Again, I've noticed the fact that at least on this opening drive, the Olympians are getting off the ball much quicker now. The offensive line is moving faster, and that's good because they need to get that extra step for the running game and the passing game to get moving.
Say 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, let's call it. Ball is at the 37-yard line of Hart. They need to get inside the 30. Here's a pitch out to Derek Norris. He's got some running room. He's going to be stopped short, but this is obviously 4-down territory at this point.
Absolutely. Derek Norris running wide to the left. Boy, I can't say that. I put my teeth back in. In any event, he got outside, almost was able to break it, but was cut down by the cornerback for Hart. We'll make it 4th down.
He got 5, needed 8, and now we've got timeout on the field, which gives us an opportunity to feature Derek Norris, 6'1", 210-pound junior. Running back, of course, also doubles as a defensive back. One good thing about the Olympian effort, regardless of what happens tonight, is that this guy will be back next year,
Absolutely. Dan. He'll be back next year. Fredrickson will be back next year. As we mentioned last week at the Hawthorne game, their starting backfield's coming back, and 2/3 of Leuzinger's backfield is coming back, and that certainly will be great for Leuzinger High and all of their fans for next season.
Of course, that 1/3 that Leuzinger loses is a valuable 1/3 in the form of Aaron Williams.
That's true, but he has got a great future ahead of him. He's a tremendous player. We'll see him basketball season when Leuzinger starts playing the hoops at the starting in January. He's a great athlete.
And check your calendars, fan, as Dan said, because once South Bay basketball gets underway, Channel 60 Sports will be there to bring it to you.
When play resumes, Leuzinger has a 4th and 3.
Leuzinger going for it on 4th down, obviously. 4th down and 3.
They've got Norris back 10 yards. Watch for him running right.
Fumble on the play, and it's recovered, same difference. Fumble recovered by Hart. So they'll take possession at their own 37-yard line. That was Mark Zimmerman on the recovery for Hart.
That's a tough break. A tough break as Derek Norris was getting ahead. Here, we'll see it here.
37-yard line.
He's going to go right in between the guard and tackle. Ego Usu had his man, and he just never, Norris that is, just never got the ball. It was never a clean handoff. Tough break.
1st and 10 now for Hart from their own 37-yard line. Leuzinger defense once again needing to rise to the occasion. Ayasenda with the ball. Ayasenda with running room. Ayasenda with the first down. Finally brought down but not until he gets down near the 30-yard line of Leuzinger.
Iacenda, he's a big guy, 6'1", 215. I think he might be a little bigger than that. Runs to his right, he runs sideways very well. Here we see it with 33 in motion, just picks the ball off, goes wide to the right, and then at that point, number 35 for the Olympians, that's Ernesto Garrigos, brings him down, but not before a great game.
1st and 10 on the Leuzinger 32-yard line.
They spot the ball officially at the 32-yard line of Leuzinger. 1st and 10, there's a face mask there. That one's easy to call there, Dan. You can see that one.
Yeah, we did, but you know, what we didn't see was Rob McCann, Steve McCann, I'm sorry, got hammered. He actually got hammered and was coming up slowly. But unfortunately for the Olympians, it's a face mask. Here we see it. And right there, tough break. But again, McKeon got really walloped by number 9, Steve Gonzalez.
And it's also good to see Iacenda come out of that without a major injury, because that was a vicious face mask, certainly not intentional. Here you see the screenplay. This is going to go for a touchdown, and it does. And so now Hart extends their lead to 36-0 over the Leuzinger. That was Dom DeLilio with the touchdown for Hart.
Well, Dom DeLilio, he scored his first touchdown that way. As we see it here, it's just a kind of a delayed screen. As McKeon goes back, dumps the ball, DeLilio catches it behind the line and then has blockers in front of him, and he actually outraces them to the end zone. That play has been breaking the Olympians' backs tonight. That's the 3rd time that one is scored. They actually brought one back.
Extra point attempt is up, and it's good. So with 4:11 left in the 3rd quarter, that makes the score 37-0. And although it's a little early, Dan, quite frankly, you can just about start to sing the Leuzinger Swan song for 1994.
Well, the thing about this is it's really a 14-point swing. And the reason I say that is because the fumble, unfortunately, with the missed handoff, Leuzinger was starting to move. Let's assume that they could have gotten in the end zone. That would have been 7 points. Unfortunately, they didn't. So now, in this case, Hart comes back and scores. It's a 14-point differential. That's tough. At 37-0 with 4 minutes and 11 seconds here in the 3rd quarter. The hill has just gotten a little bit higher. It's gone from a mountain to Mount Olympus.
To a stairway to heaven, that's for sure. Because it would definitely take some divine intervention at this point for the Olympian effort.
Jalal Kendrick, number 3.
Kickoff sails into the end zone. They need to down it there. They make the unwise decision not to. They don't get back to the 20, which confirms that it was a bad decision. They'll take over at about their own 17-yard line. They're going to give them on that.
Well, again, when the engine isn't running well, there are going to be problems, and unfortunately, Leuzinger just hasn't had an opportunity to get going tonight offensively, and it's actually spread to other areas of the game. And the defense, but unfortunately, that would have been a better decision to leave it in the end zone. But in this case, they start 1st and 10 behind their own 20.
I think after tonight's performance, you'll see them going back on the road on more 3-hour road trips in the future. They keep the ball on the ground. Derek Nars is going to pick up a couple on the play.
And Ego Usu behind there, he's leading the charge.
Derek Norris, the ball carrier, number 6. Gain of 5 yards.
With 3:15 left in the 3rd quarter, fans of this 2nd round playoff contest, the Leuzinger Olympians right now trailing the Hart Indians by a score of 37-0. Playing for pride and respect at this point. Fredrickson drops back the pass, goes over the middle, misses his intended receiver, who was Terrell Gardner.
Gardner had 3 guys around him. He tried that pass. Gardner almost had it. He stretched for it. Tried to stretch that 6'4" frame to pick it up, but as he did, he got hit. And unfortunately couldn't hold on.
Brings up a third down situation now for the Olympians. They're going to call it 3rd and 5. Ball is spotted at the 18-yard line. Fredrickson, of course, still the quarterback. Derek Norris, Aaron Williams in the backfield with him. They throw it over the middle. Misses his intended receiver once again, Terrell Gardner.
Well, that ball was tipped, actually. Gardner would have had that, but the ball was tipped. Looked like number 47 was Ryan Horrigan. Tipped that ball. If not, Gardner would have had it and actually would have picked up the first down as he was in full speed.
So Dan, under the circumstances, I mean, from your own experience, tell me, we've got 2:47 left in the third quarter. Just about 15 minutes of football left as Fredericks punts. Punt crosses midfield. It stops at about the 47-yard line. What's at stake now?
Well, I think, again,
First and 10 Hart.
as you mentioned earlier, it's a matter of playing for pride, the Bay League here. These guys are competitors. Again, I think it's just great that you can get out and compete. But Leuzinger's had a terrific season. They've played, they've met every challenge. The Hart team has come in tonight and just have been playing tremendous ball. And unfortunately, Leuzinger just can't seem to get the offense going. So right at this point, they're going to compete and try and hit as hard as they can and finish it out and see what happens.
We've got 2:20 left in the third quarter. It's a 1st and 10 for Hart. Hart keeps the ball on the ground. This time they've got a new running back, number 33, and he's getting ready to break off a touchdown run. That was from the 47. That's a 53-yard touchdown run by Tim Waddell. And now we're up at 43-0 with the extra point attempt coming up. So for those, Dan, that were holding on to it, we're going to see the instant replay here. You see McEwen handing off to Waddell, who's giving Ascenda a spell. Waddell hits the right corner, and it's just him and the referees from there.
That's it. Waddell picks up speed as he ran right. And he goes in for the touchdown, virtually untouched, really. And this is a very impressive Hart team. It really is. They, offensively, they have just been able to have their way tonight. The offensive line seems to certainly have great power in terms of moving off the ball, and of course their running backs, led by Ted Ascenda, has been outstanding.
And for those that were holding out a little bit of faith left in the possibilities, I can assure you that just about was the last nail in the coffin.
That's true, but again, I've got to reiterate that the Leuzinger High Olympians have had a tremendous season. They have played they've given us some great excitement, given their fans some great excitement. Again, it's like anything else in competition. Someone wins, someone loses. And, they gave it the best shot.
Kicking off for Hart. Team to receive for Leuzinger, number 3, Jalal Kendrick.
Jalal Kendrick back to receive for the Olympians. He'll take it at the goal line. Doesn't have any blocking. He's going to have to do it on his own. Heads for the right sideline and finally brought down.
On their own 24-yard line.
And now, as some fans were saying, we are starting to experience a little bit of rainfall here at Olympian Field right now.
That may actually be somewhat of a sign in terms of the floodgates being open. maybe the skies will open now. But again, the Olympians, we've got to salute them and for an outstanding season. They have met the challenges. Jalal Kendrick, a senior, 5'6", 155. He's a speed merchant back there. And they've got nothing to be ashamed of at all. They've been competitors all year long, and they're competing.
Fredericks is still the quarterback, passes out in the flat. pass is incomplete. That pass intended for Terrell Gardner. And I agree with you 100%, Dan. It's just that, as you and I both know in this business, when you've got 13 and a half minutes to fill of a game that's out of hand at this point, and there you see Rob Fredrickson on your screen. He's a junior, 6'1", 175 pounds.
He'll be back.
There's a light sprinkle in the air. This would hardly qualify as a downpour at this point in terms of rain. There's a downpour on the scoreboard, however, and Leuzinger is on the wet end of that downpour. Derek Norris once again with the carry. It's going to bring up a third down play for the Olympians now.
Norris, the ball carrier. Gain of 4 yards.
Well, as we see Derek Norris there highlighted, he'll be back next year. Fredrickson will be back next year. Some of the offensive line will be graduating. They've had an outstanding season. They really have. All of them have just been outstanding, as all the team had. The whole team has been outstanding all season long.
Winding down the third quarter here, Fredrickson left with no choice but to pass. Just misses his intended receiver, who is number 3, Jalal Kendrick, and that's the best pass I've seen Fredrickson throw tonight, Dan.
He had quite a bit of time to throw that one. Some great protection. Here we'll see it as he moves back. He had plenty of time, and that pass, unfortunately, Jalal just out of his outstretched arm. That would have been a great play and would have got the crowd into it at this point.
Incompletion brings up a 4th down, 4th and 6 for the Olympians. Once again, a punting situation.
Rob Fredrickson back to kick for Leuzinger.
Fredrickson gets the kick away. Fair caught by number 35 for Hart. And of course, that's Jeremy Seipel. Our usual broadcast partner, Alex Manila, working the camera tonight, filling in for one of our absent cameramen and doing a fine job, I might add.
Well, we've got a 4th quarter to go. Again, it's a matter of, for the Leuzinger Olympians, playing for school pride and competing as they have all season long and as they will. Let's see what they can do on defense here, as we have a new quarterback for Hart.
Hart has changed quarterbacks, as Dan said. They keep it on the ground. Quarterback keeper, and he's going to be brought down after a very short gain. In on the stop for the Olympians was Steve Gonzalez. Excuse me, fans, that's Eric Negrell. Has nothing to do with smoke, just a little. It's that time of the year where there are all sorts of bugs going around, and I happen to have caught one.
Looks like we have a penalty, personal foul. Might be just a tint of frustration for the Olympians on defense here, as unfortunately the hands may just go a little bit further than usual.
So, that's the end of the third quarter, fans, and after 3 quarters, the visiting Hart Indians lead the Leuzinger Olympians by a score of 44-0 as they're pitching a shutout. Leuzinger looking to use the 4th quarter to end the season on a positive note by at least getting on the board. Their fans, certainly in spite of the weather conditions, are all still here. They know how good this team is, and tonight they just ran up against a buzzsaw. But you don't get to be number 6 in the state by being a slouch football team.
That's absolutely true. Again, they've had some terrific performances by everybody all year long.
Once again, they've changed their entire backfield, actually, not just the quarterback, but the running back. McKeon and Ayasende, of course, started at quarterback and running back respectively. And now you've got Eric Negrell in at quarterback. And we're getting a fix on who the new running back is. Josh Kane, it looks like. Leuzinger now takes a timeout. And during this timeout, Dan, it does give us an opportunity to remind the fans, as we were saying, of course, we will be here for basketball season when that gets started, and you can expect to see a lot of great basketball in the South Bay this year. I was reading some stuff earlier this week that talks about how good Peninsula is going to be, and of course we saw them, and they're returning most of their starting lineup. And I don't need to tell anybody out there how good Inglewood is, led by Paul Pierce, the consensus player of the year in California without peer. And a couple of times we saw him last year, the young man's impressive, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of that action. Not to mention the fact that our two featured teams, Leuzinger and Hawthorne, both returned very, very good teams to start the '94 campaign with.
That's true. We're going to see some players that we've actually been watching during the football season. Ega Usu for Leuzinger. Aaron Williams will be playing for Leuzinger as well. So we've got some great action coming up. The Bay League will be a very competitive one, as it was last year. And there's going to be some terrific ball games. We're going to cover them right here, and I'm looking forward to it.
Eric Negre, number 11, at quarterback.
Second down and 6 for Newhall now. Defense stacks him up right at the line of scrimmage. It's going to bring up a 3rd and long now for Newhall. They're operating from their own 38-yard line, from Leuzinger's 38-yard line, excuse me.
Ball carrier, gain of 1 yard.
We've got a little over 11 minutes left in Leuzinger's season, folks.
During this partial time out here, the officials have done a great job tonight. The referee, Russ Johnson, line judge, Pat Turner, back judge is Scott Hart, head linesman Ken McAlpin, and the umpire is Don Valdez.
Now we're going
Terrific job.
And just as you mentioned them, they're doing their job because I believe there's going to be a delay of game against Newhall.
Quarterback Kane had come over to find out what he was going to call, and they just spent too much time. More than likely will happen now with the second unit in, trying to get things straight.
Well, Dan, they're marking this off 15 yards against the Olympians. They're calling it unsportsmanlike conduct. And at this point, as you were saying, unfortunately, and we certainly don't want to see this, nor do we encourage or condone it, but a great deal of frustration is obviously set in on the Leuzinger Olympian football team. And they're making some very bad mental mistakes now, and also doing a poor job of representing their school or speaking for the effort that they've given all year. So it's a 1st and 10 now for Hart, and we've got another flag on the play. So we've had 2 consecutive flags without a snap, and now they're marking 5. You mark 5 more yards off against the Olympians, so the Olympians now have given them 20 yards. Based on the scoreboard, it appears the ball is marked at the 17-yard line of Leuzinger. 1st and 5 for Hart now. Again, they keep it on the ground. Leuzinger defense does a good job of stringing out the runner, number 2 for Hart.
Reggie Banks, the ball carrier, number 2.
And that was Reggie Banks, the ball carrier for Hart. They give him a gain of 2 on the play. Makes it a 2nd down and 3 now for Hart.
Leuzinger still has their first line defense in, and again, I think that's actually a good move. These guys, some of them are seniors, most of them are seniors, need to finish off their careers and want to do it on a high note, and they're doing that now.
2nd down.
And as we take care of a few little housekeeping here, we've got it underway. Once again, they keep the ball on the ground and they go around the left side and they get inside the 10-yard line down near the 5.
The Leuzinger 4-yard line, where it will be 1st and goal. Doug Satterfield, the ball carrier for Hart.
So it's going to be a 1st and goal for Hart, Dan.
Steve Gonzalez is still in there.
5-yard line.
Satterfield at the 1-yard line. 1st and goal. Hart is there knocking on the door again. unfortunately, against Leuzinger, a substitution call that unfortunately is not allowed. I think they substituted after the lineup, so marks at half the distance to the goal.
First and goal for Hart now from the Leuzinger 2-yard line.
First and goal on the 3-yard line for Hart.
Again, to keep it on the ground, and we don't see a signal yet. So apparently the Olympian defense stopped him just short of the goal line. That's Josh Kane with the carry. And you're going to see that the ball is no more than a yard away from the end zone, Dan.
Yep.
It's a very short distance for this team.
It is indeed, and it looks like, no, the Olympians hold tough again.
Excellent defensive play by the Olympians. And what's going to be strange out of all this, Dan, is that when the game is summed up, even though there are 44 points on the board, you would actually have to say that the Leuzinger defense played pretty good tonight.
Absolutely, they really did. There were some big plays that happened, some big yardage plays. But overall, the defense really picked it up here in the second half and has played a pretty good game so far.
So once again, to keep it on the ground, quarterback keeper, we still don't have an official signal. Now we do. Touchdown Hart. That only adds to their 44 points. We've got 7:43 left in the contest, fans. And right now, Hart leads by a score of 50-0. And this is the most points that I've seen this Leuzinger team give up in many a year.
Well, here we'll see it again. We'll watch as the quarterback keeper, he goes right over the center, scores the touchdown, and Steve Gonzalez sums it up as he kind of looks up in the sky. And it hasn't been Leuzinger's night tonight, no question. But in any event, the extra point here for Hart, and they go up 51-0, 52-0. So, it's been an interesting night. It's been an interesting night,
to say the least. With the extra point, Hart now leads by a score of 52-0 over the Olympians. And as Dan said, it indeed has been very interesting, quite a surprise. Obviously a disappointment to the crowd assembled here at Olympian Field to see their dream season actually of 1994 end in this fashion. Because this team actually, although Leuzinger annually feels a pretty good team, was not picked to do as well as they did, and certainly not finish number 2 in the South Bay. But they did, and when you look back on it, this was but one game, albeit in the playoffs, but overall, you've got to mark this as an A+ season for the Olympians.
No question about it. They really have. They've played an outstanding season. They've had some great games that they've played. The game against Torrance was outstanding. So, again, this one game, they ran into a team that had everything going tonight, and it just didn't work. But nonetheless, they represent their school well. They are competitors. They've just had a great year. It's a tough loss, but there's tomorrow and many more competitions for everybody on this team.
And one thing I can say about these guys and their coaching staff is that although it wasn't in the cards for them tonight, you can bet they're hoping that Peninsula, their colleague in the Bay League, meets this team somewhere down the line and dishes out a little Bay League justice. Kickoff is going to sail out of bounds. Actually, it's picked up by a Hart player, but the officials are going to blow it dead at the 20-yard line.
It was interesting. The ball looked like it may have bounced up and hit a Leuzinger player on the arm, but by that time the ball had been dead because it seemed it may have gone out of bounds and then came back in. So, in any event, and the official now, are they calling it Leuzinger ball or?
Right. They're giving possession to Hart, Dan, and that's because of the fact that a kickoff is a live ball, and Leuzinger didn't cover the kickoff. And we may see that in a moment on the replay or in a few moments, but right now we're back to live action once again. with Hart leading by a score of 51-0. Here's a pitch back that's recovered by the Olympians. So the Olympians catch a late break. Number 72 with the fumble recovery, and of course that's Richard Gomez for the Olympians.
Well, one of the few bright spots for the Leuzinger Olympians tonight. There's Richard Gomez, the 6'1", 220-pound senior. As he fell on that ball, the pitch never made where it was supposed to go, and he got the ball, and it now gives the ball back to the Olympians. Watch right here. We'll see it. The pitch dropped. Gomez is on it.
And it was a low pitch actually by the quarterback, and the running back actually never had an opportunity to cleanly handle the ball. We've got a timeout on the field being taken by Hart. They obviously aren't quite ready to go home yet. We've got 6:49 left in the contest, folks, with Leuzinger trailing big by a score of 51-0.
You know, I just want to say that this has been a great season for us here at Channel 60. I've enjoyed it. It's been a tremendous experience for me covering these games with you. You are the dean of the Bay League, and it's just been, we've seen some great performances by Hawthorne and Leuzinger, and even some of their opponents have given us some great thrills. So it's been a great season, and I just want to thank you and all the folks at Cable Channel 60 for giving me the opportunity to be here.
Well, the feeling is mutual, Dan, and you're right. It's been 10 long weeks, and you're right. We've seen a lot of good players. We've seen a lot of young men, as we've said before, who have talent to play at the next level. And a lot of these guys, fans, you can rest assured you'll be hearing these names again as these young men who are seniors move on up to the next step in their football careers. Fredrickson again drops back to pass, leads Derek Norris just a little bit too far. Well, certainly the band and the cheerleaders and all the others have done their part tonight, and the crowd actually has, because believe it or not, folks, most of the crowd that was here at kickoff, and although they're 51 points down now, they're still here cheering on their Olympians. And it's as we say, they're looking at the sum total of the effort, Dan, not just tonight, but they're saying to these guys, hey, thank you for a great season and a lot of good feelings.
Great testament to the team. It's a great testament to every player as they've performed outstanding all year long.
Once again, they keep it on the ground. Handoff is to Derek Norris. Norris picks up 6 yards on the play. He's going to make it a 2nd down and 4.
We're going to see him next year. Derek Norris, he had an outstanding season this year, was one of the key backs in that 300-yard rushing per game for the Olympians. He has got a great future ahead of him. He's an outstanding player.
3rd down and 6 for the Olympians now. Ball spotted out near the 30-yard line. Timing pattern across the middle. Fredrickson hits his man. They pick up a 1st down on the play. On the reception was William Riley for the Olympians. With under 6 minutes left in the contest, Leuzinger trying to put some points on the board here. Here you're going to see on the replay where Fredrickson drops back, fade pattern, hits William Riley out in the flat, and Riley picks up enough for the 1st down. Ball out near midfield. This time they give it to Derek Norris. He's got some running room. He's got one guy to beat. Runs through that guy, picks up a 1st down and then some. Derek Norris, Dan, showing the kind of running that we've been accustomed to seeing all year.
Well, the score could be 52-0, but Derek Norris, as well as the rest of the Olympians, are playing like it's 0-0. Great play. That was a counter block. The left guards allowed that hole to happen. Derek Norris just immediately, as soon as that hole opened up, he accelerated and picked up a great gain.
Derek Norris at 6'1", 210 pounds, certainly qualifies as a big back, and he indeed is a tough guy to bring down. Ball now at the 28-yard line of Hart. Leuzinger, again, looking to put some points on the board here tonight. Here's a pass out in the flat to Terrell Gardner, and he drops it.
unfortunately, Terrell Gardner wanted that ball so much he started to run before he actually had it in his hands, and unfortunately the ball just slipped through. But he's had a great season this year. Terrell Gardner, big pack. He's got some great things ahead of him. He's a senior.
Makes it a 2nd down and 10 now from the Hart 28-yard line. We've got under 5 minutes left in the contest. Fredrickson hands it off once again. Derek Norris. Derek Norris running all over people as if though it were the first quarter, as Dan said. Still showing a lot of spirit, a lot of effort, and a lot of heart.
Gain of 5 yards.
They give him a gain of 5 on the play. Will make it a 3rd down and 5 for the Olympians now.
Well, it's good. It stands in good stead as Derek Norris continues his great play as we wrap up here the season for the Olympians. Just will be a springboard for him for next year.
I'm not quite sure what's happened to Aaron Williams, but obviously as we look at the offense operate here, you certainly can't go unnoticed that Aaron Williams hasn't been on the field this entire drive, Dan.
Well, again, with the score the way it is, it may be a means of giving him some rest. You know, he's had a big season. He's been a bulwark on offense and defense, playing both ways. He's got a basketball coming up in a few weeks, so it may be time to give some other players a chance, give them a shot at playing in the game here. Aaron Williams has got some great promise. He's got some great times ahead of him at the next level.
So Leuzinger once again will be going for it on 4th down here. We've got 3.5 minutes left, trailing by a score of 51-0. They're looking for the end zone. They fake the handoff to Derek Norris. Fredrickson has to do something with the ball. Bad decision. He's going to be brought down for a loss. Now we've got a flag on the play, and he may get bailed out here. We'll have to see what the officials call, but the Olympians may get bailed out and get a first down. Well, it was not to be. In fact, it was against the Olympians. You're going to see on the replay here, Fredrickson rolls out the pass, gets jammed up there by the defensive line, stringing him out, no place to go, and he's brought down. So with 3 minutes, 15 seconds left in the contest, Hart once again goes on offense.
Looks like we've got some additional some new players in for the defense for the Olympians, giving them some game action here.
This time the Leuzinger defense, led by a host of players, stack up the Hart offense right at the line of scrimmage. Hart, of course, content to keep it on the ground now and run out the last 2 minutes and 40 seconds. That was Justin Childers on the carry for Hart. In on the stop for Leuzinger was Sean Jennis, along with several other Olympians. And right now, Dan, as you were saying, some of the confusion that we see with players running in and off the field is just that, and that's the fact that Coach Boehm, all right, wanting to respect the effort that a lot of these young men give. They aren't necessarily the stars. They don't get the playing time, but they come out day in and day out in practice, and it's their effort in practice that helps make the overall team better, and he's rewarding them with some action tonight in what is obviously Leuzinger's last game of the season.
Well, and that's true. Everybody on the team contributes to the successes that you achieve, and so it's great that some of these players get a chance to play in this game as we wind down the season.
So once again, Hart keeping it on the ground. On a 3rd and long, they fail to pick up the first down. Looks like they're going to have to part. There was Reggie Banks once again with the carry. So Leuzinger, with a minute and change left, will have one last opportunity to at least scratch some dirt against this very good Hart Indian football team that made the ride down from Magic Mountain, and quite frankly, they've shown this crowd a little bit of magic tonight.
Well, they have indeed. Their offense just came out. The second play of the game, they scored. That was really going to be what the indication was going to for the rest of the game, and they just came out, moved very fast.
And now a delay of game penalty is called against Hart. Looks like Jalal Kendrick back to receive for the Olympians. Kick sails out of bounds, so the Olympians will take over at about the 43-yard line. So 36 seconds left, fans, in Leuzinger season. And while we've got a change of possession, gives us one final opportunity to thank the Lawndale Cable Usage Corporation, who through their generosity, we were able to bring tonight's contest to you and other CIF playoff action as well as the regular season. Channel 60's production, of course, is headed by Mike Galarza, assisted by Tom Strickfadden, and all the other guys that work camera.
Great effort by all of them, and our hats off to every one of the gentlemen that bring the great pictures to you. Cable Channel 60, just an outstanding team.
15 seconds left in the Leuzinger season right now, folks. But as we bring a close to this season, it merely means we're getting ready to open a new season. Stay with us, check your schedule. In just a couple of weeks, we'll be back bringing basketball action to you right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60.
Well, as we line up probably for the last play of the game, again, the Leuzinger High seniors playing their last ball game, going on to the next level. It's been a great season. We've got a flag on the play, but they have nothing to be ashamed of by any stretch. They've had a terrific season, and we've enjoyed covering them.
So Leuzinger's season will end with 9 victories, 2 defeats, and 1 tie. Hart, of course, with 11-0 record, moves on to the semifinals of the Division II playoffs.
The rain didn't happen.
No, we got a few sprinkles, but we were blessed with it holding off.
Last week I thought it was going to snow.
In some places, depending upon where you were, it did snow. Once again, they keep the ball on the ground. This time it's number 5 for the Olympians, and that, of course, is Daryl Butler. Butler picks up a first down, and there are 2 seconds left. Got a stoppage of the clock.
Thinking about Daryl Butler, we haven't called his number. We haven't really seen him much tonight, so I don't know if he was hurt or whatever. He's another one of the fine stable of running backs that Leuzinger brought every game.
And as an additional testament to the fans, they in fact stay seated until the last 2 seconds. And I think that that's pretty good considering that this game was over a long time ago. Leuzinger, of course, got one last shot at getting some points on the board here. Leuzinger's last play from scrimmage here is a pass out in the flat to William Riley, and it won't go for a touchdown, and that'll end the season. So Leuzinger
High, as they finish off their season 9-2-1 in the Bay League. As Rufus had mentioned earlier, they were not it wasn't predicted that they were going to do very well in the Bay League this year, but they had an outstanding season. They ran into a buzzsaw tonight, Hart High School, and unfortunately came on the short end of a 51-0 score, but it was a great game. It really was.
It was indeed, Dan, and as I said, unfortunately, as in all of these contests, there has to be a winner and a loser, and tonight it ends up with Leuzinger being on the short end of this playoff game in the second round by a score of 51-0. But nonetheless, let's take a moment not only to salute Leuzinger's effort tonight, but both the teams that Channel 60 covers. The Hawthorne Cougars, who had a very good season as well. Their season ended last weekend. Leuzinger extends their season one more week, but it does end here with the loss in the second round to a very good and a very talented Hart Indian football team. As we said, for guys like Aaron Williams, Igor Uso, and some others, this was their last time taking the field here at Olympian Stadium, but they'll be taken home with them and taken on to the next level. A lot of great memories, Dan, of a lot of great games having played here over the past 4 years, and the contributions they've made to the effort have been unbelievable.
That's very true. Again, competition is key, and these kinds of things that you remember years down the road, these kinds of events that happen in your life, all of these players have had an opportunity to be in the playoffs. They went through and won a game. They played tonight. They're going to remember this for years on down. And so no matter what the final score is, it's the memories that you have, the competition that you have. It really stands you in good stead as you move on in life. And these guys, all of them, every one of them can be very proud of what they've done up to this point and will continue to do as the years go by.
So the Olympians now start looking forward to next year in terms of football. Obviously a good foundation to build upon, a sour ending to an otherwise good season, but the coaching staff led by Fred Bohm has prepared these guys each and every year, and let us not forget that this year's team exceeded all expectations to start with by getting this far. So they've certainly got a lot to be proud of. For us here at Channel 60, it's time to pack up our football gear, and for you and me, it's almost a blessing. We get to head inside now for basketball season as we start to bring to you the 1994 CIF Southern Section Bay League basketball action. And once again, obviously, we'll be featuring Leuzinger and Hawthorne during the basketball season, and we want you to join us right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. Once again, this production was made possible by the Lawndale Cable Usage Corporation. Dan, your thoughts as we close it out?
Well, again, we just reiterating, we've seen some great action this year from both our featured teams. The Bay League has been strong for years. You know that. It will continue to be strong. And I'm looking forward to some great Bay League action. Basketball-wise, these two schools will bring some great competition to the games that we're going to cover. So I just want to thank, again, Cable Channel 60 for allowing me to be part of it. It's just been a great season.
On behalf of everyone here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60, I'm Rufus Washington along with Dan Simeon, and as we head into the holiday season, which has officially gotten underway, we here at Channel 60 hope that all of you will have a very happy and enjoyable holiday season. We're going to pack it up for the 1994 football season, but we know that you'll be sure to join us right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60 next year in football. But come back in 3 weeks for the basketball season, fan. And we've got a couple of fans here with us as we close out the season, showing some of their Leuzinger spirit. With that, I'm out of here. Dan, it's been great. Good night.